repulsive marriage model. Kids won't be running to the altar if they see their parents fight all the time. Like they're constantly rehearsing for SummerSlam on pay-per-view at Miami International Airport, since All Lives Matter became the new N-word. The problem is my wife views herself as Miss Elizabeth, who's above reproach. And I'm the hothead speed freak, like macho man, because I'm an Adderall again to focus less on how annoying my wife can be whenever she accuses me of being the controlling one who oppresses her in all phases of life, specifically who goes out of his way to prevent her from working out on the Peloton. So my wife is guilty of white Peloton privilege too. Am I preventing my wife from waking up early to squeeze in a ride for a change? No. All I do is bite my tongue, regretting the day I ever fell in love with a woman whose mom inspired the expression unhuggable cunt for a reason. The same woman, that being my wife, who has to buy Kardashian jeans despite her not being on top of the porcupine puss Persian chain. I need to come up with a stronger finishing move to end our fights, because giving my wife a pile driver, like Mr. Wonderful, into the Handmaid's Tale coffee table book to get her mouth wired shut after I insist on squashing it prior isn't getting the job done. Can I get a holla for the long-awaited, hot-pitched, not one, but two, but third comedy record special, Killerset at gmail.com. Not professional enough? No shit, Sherlock. Holla. Thank you very much. I just saw a shot of Kim Kardashian studying for the bar exam in a bikini on Instagram, so she can practice a social justice law in LA to make squatting rights outside her compound in Valencia go viral. Social justice lawyers are so hot right now. I bet a new variant of COVID will descend upon America by the time Kim Kardashian passes the bar in 2022. But then all our jails will be empty to protect MS-13 rapists from catching an itchy esophagus, God forbid, after MS-13 extra in the remake of American Me tears out the top of a Goya can to give himself a tear tattoo on the tip of his dick. So, what difference does it make? Hillary Hammertime Kankles lives. Holla! Thank you very much! It's hard to remain attracted to your wife when she's constantly blaming you for never putting her clothes away. Despite you constantly trying to diminish her, making you feel like the fucking help again by making jokes at her expense. Her argument is, you're always in the room working on new books and jokes or talking shit about my unhuggable cunt of a mother again, so I never have time to put them away. But my wife could find 3 hours to dye her hair partially pink before work at the labor and delivery at the nearby hospital, to secure her punk rock girl indie credit on Instagram soon after squeezing in some more elaborate dance routines on TikTok again, to please her Chinese master spying overlords to see. How is labor and delivery at our hospital so busy again? I thought women in New York were having less kids these days because overweight hobbit hipsters were pulling out prematurely from excessive meat sweats. At the same time, Lena Dunham encouraging her millions of followers on Instagram to rock the arm flapper look while resembling the hunchback of Bushwick during restaurant week isn't helping. Holla! Thank you very much! My youngest one, Samuel, otherwise known, otherwise billed as Hardcore Hunga in the WWE Squirts League, has the right idea at 4 already, admitting to me last night, Daddy, playing with my pee-pee tunnel is my favorite thing to do. I say, then you'll have no problem staying married then, kid. Can I get a holla for raising the roof long time already, for going for kill shots long time, all the time, sinking them, nothing but net, all the time. I might be repeating myself, but it's my comedy record, third in a row, so go woke yourself. Holla! Thank you very much! My son is going to trade school. I hate run-on sentence critics. It's not my fault. You're slow and can't keep up with my gender fluid flow. Critical race theory is bullshit. Guaranteed money in the NBA, regardless of injury or a reliable left hand move to the rack, is so oppressive. The Muslim Sisterhood in Congress, including Babyface Omar and Rashida Tlaib, don't have an issue amplifying their voices in America already. Either Jack. Howard Beale was killed in the movie Network over lousy ratings. CNN's worst nightmare come true. British accents are unwelcome, intrusive, like Boris Johnson's wife staring in my general direction 8 days a week. John Lennon lives. Holla! Thank you very much! Does AAA offer Antifa roadblock assistance because the Proud Boys will do it free of charge? Night Screams means you care about living, or else you wouldn't be afraid of dying before making it. Already, God forbid. New York will come back, but everybody has left except free Palestine protesters and the halal guys. Forcing kids to wear muzzles is wrong. Boris Johnson's wife at the G7 summit, not so much. Woof, woof. Jill Biden is a tacky small-town hoe. Biden wears her pantyhose when he can't find his mask. Masks are the new condoms, only because I can't come at my wife wearing one either. 90% of the people survive COVID. Yet fuckface Fauci, aka Dr. Noki, push endless lockdowns and triple masking of our kids while acting as if COVID depresses your immune system more than entry into the Dallas Buyers Club. Hydrochloroxine can increase your survival rate by 200%. What's up with that study, Doc? Warner Brothers lives. That being Tiny Toons. Holla, I think. Thank you very much! Still, Dr. Fauci used his power to block the use of hydrochloroxine. Fuckface Fauci, aka Dr. Noki, is Dr. Kevorkian in reverse. Biden is donating thousands of free COVID vaccines to Africa, like a poor man's Bill Gates, who can't code for shit either. Sanctuary cities is encourage lawlessness on crack. One kid only means your diaphragm is for walls after all. You don't get that joke or you don't approve of it? Then go woke yourself. Holla! Thank you very much! I'm against unlimited immigration because I'm not a proud supporting member of what's become of the rapist enablement party. If calling Babyface Omar a jihad-loving, anti-Semitic runt cunt makes me alt-right, then I'm alright with it. Holla! Thank you very much! Where were you when Fox stopped counting the ballots? Thanking God JFK didn't die for nothing? Yeah, me too. My mom texted me Happy Father's Day on the wrong day. Her happiness for me knows no bounds. Boris Johnson's wife, woof woof, needs water breaks. Not my son 2 minutes into basketball practice. My wife wants me to get COVID so she could say, you should have worn a mask going down a MAGA mom. Trump won signs at Major League Baseball games is my new favorite American pastime. Besides telling LeBron, aka Drama Queen Diaries, the worst race instigator in the history of the NBA, to go woke himself long time, all the time. Holla! Thank you very much! The Mueller report hearing proved what again? Mueller parts his hair with nothing but good old-fashioned elbow grease. Holla! Thank you very much! Did Drago pop out of your voting booth and demand, vote Trump or I'll break you? Stallone lives. Holla! Thank you very much! When the Statue of Liberty went dark, I bet de Blasio forgot to pay the Con Ed bill on time again. I hate the term helping others unless you're applying for a job that says help wanted. Maintaining relationships is overrated among those who think Mr. Groper won by a hair alone. My son is going to trade school to become a landscape artist because New York City will have to start from ground zero at this rate, or he could become a furniture designer with his own private, and he could design his own private studio and avoid charges of sexual harassment because he'll design his own state-of-the-art safe space for jerking off, or he could become a programmer and work remote. Unlike those software engineers who were charged with sexual harassment pre-COVID at Google, despite those engineers leaving the impression that they were too busy banging out new code to hit on girls anyway. Plus, I thought only ugly girls went to coding boot camp. Also, don't programmers wear those Yenta breath noise canceling headphones at work for a reason? Last, the typical Perl script command isn't massage my carpal tunnel. Oh! My daughter's 4th grade teacher just made her classroom writer tutor. Parenting matters too. Can I get a holla for taking my time to stroke my doodle data tutelage over here because it's produced freaking phenomenal results. Controlling our kids' comedy can make our kids great again. My 3 fuss-free kids, the majority of the time, are living proof of it. Holla! Thank you very much! Buffalo Bush. So far, my claim to fame was an appearance in the TV show Blind Date. All I got out of it was a free meal and herpes. My luck, my date was a -6 by upstate New York standards. My date gave the producers permission to shoot her Buffalo Bush waxing scene ahead of time because she obviously grew it out for the occasion. Her mounted a muff looked like a stack of Brillo pads stacked on top of a stack of busted slinkies. At the end of our date, she says, "Should we kiss?" In my mind, I'm thinking, sure, why not? You're not hot enough to give me herpes anyway. At the same time, kissing her on camera was beyond anticlimactic. After staring down her mounted a muff prior, from my bird's eye view, it was like rounding the bases from third counterclockwise, like a faster talking Forrest Gump minus the tingly film score in my honor, or centerfold girlfriend material to fill up in her dorm room with Big Ten beauties on top. Forrest lives. Forrest and Janet forever. Thank you very much. Holla! Jokes Gen X dads understand. Holla! Thank you very much. Art show spirit. Nirvana didn't kill off hair metal. AIDS did. Before magic made HIV disappear. In related news, Scottie Pippen reveals in his new autobiography, Phil Jackson is one lanky, lucky, honky motherfucker. MJ would have gotten chlamydia if he didn't box out ex-Laura Pippen from trying to ride his joystick out of its socket into the sunset first. Sebastian Bach, lead singer of Skid Row, asked original lead singer of Skid Row before we got kicked out, being a bigger loudmouth asshole than Doodle Dad over here. Sebastian Bach, original lead singer of Skid Row, asked Nirvana to tour with them for their Slave to the Grind tour. Kurt Cobain declined, saying, "We can't because we're homophobic." Hilarious. Sebastian Bach was caught wearing a shirt prior that said, "AIDS kills fags dead," which is dumb because dead, especially in caps, is an extraneous exclamation point at that point in the sentence. Sebastian Bach blames the loss of girls attending their shows after making a follow-up Skid Row album with no ballads on it, claiming, "Only girls buy records for the ballads, so you're a fag if you fell for the gooey love burst every time too." Disinterested love destroys. Getting vaccinated is the most patriotic thing to do. I thought it was filing defamation suits on the behalf of Dominion the day democracy died. The FBI could lock up all the ringleaders behind Antifa and BLM, and our Supreme Court still won't touch an election fraud case with Elizabeth Warren's nightmare catcher totem pole. Bursting with patriotic pride for July 4th, since Mr. Groper got sworn in via Zoom, was harder than Rick Fox staying hard after ex-wife Vanessa Williams took up plus-size modeling bras for Victoria's Secret. Megan Rapone is a model for Victoria's Secret now. Can't wait to sample those edible shin guards that taste like hairy fish sticks. Watching the firework display from Mount Rushmore on YouTube last night with my kids from last year's 4th of July, this year, once they started the country music section of the fireworks broadcast, Melania looked less disinterested than Jill Biden after Vogue asked if she's interested in her hair being airbrushed with an actual brush for a change before using an actual digital one for much needed touch-up work. Younger brother says, "Can't stay late. Jane is tutoring to do." I said, "But she teaches ESL sporadically. So how brain draining can the work be? Knowing most Chinese kids bow and nodding submission most of the time anyway. Last, if Jane is tutoring the next Obama from Kenya, his college records will be sealed anyway. So what difference does it make?" Dad failing to show his son interested love again. "Dad, tell me I should get a new smartphone replacement instead of a flip phone because you die without me sending you new pics of your 3 grandkids." No nod, no change in demeanor, nothing. All I heard was crickets, like when I asked my dad in my mind, "So, with your favorite son adding heroin use to his demon battling list of notable accomplishments on his resume, do you still think he makes Hunter Biden look like a slacker underachiever in comparison?" Can I get a holla? Fine, holding back one iota for busting balls as deserved. You're welcome. Holla. Thank you very much. Flinch Club. We need to knock on doors, get people vaccinated. And Trumpy Poo was the fascist dictator in charge who launched biological warfare on his own precious economy. I hate the Biden administration more than Jen Psaki's strawberry shortcake White House housewarming gift for Mr. Groper, like it was a nicotine gum or nicotine patch to quell his cravings around inhaling her hole in the Oval Office with the lights turned down low. Bob Marley lives. Holla! Thank you very much! The Tokyo Olympics will be held without spectators, like the NBA Finals without drama queen diaries. My 4-year-old son hits me in the stomach, as I encourage him to do, until I have 0 beer belly protrudage left to hit. Not an easy word to say. Stop letting myself off the fucking hook. My father, sitting next to us in the lawn chair, says, "Don't hit your daddy." I say, "It's okay, Dad. I'm teaching my son to be a fighter, not a flincher." My dad says, "Fine, but don't hit me, Samuel, or I'll hit back." Typical Democrat reply. Threaten and attempt to intimidate those deemed smaller in stature than you. Personally, I think my 4-year-old son could break Pop's glasses in 2 if he tried. The kid flicks 5-pound free weights with these like they were pistachio nutshells, flicked at Andy Dick's head at the Viper Room, passed out 2 hours before the ball drop on New Year's Eve. Heaven for my 4-year-old son is watching Rocky training montage sequences on YouTube with Daddy on the big screen TV. Next time my dad tries to disparage good news about Christian lit agents sucking off my pitch letter, or very funny sample chapter offerings from my book, The Co-Sharing Comedian, by saying, "Who cares? My little fighter will say to Gramps, 'You tried knocking Daddy down? Why don't you try knocking me down?' Daddy calls me Hardcore Hunger for a reason. Go for it. Rocky 5 lives. Can I get a holla? or some more primo Gen X references. Gen X dads understand. Long time, all the time. Holla! Thank you very much! Daddy issues? Daddy. Can I get a holla? More headline, hooker, galore, delight. You're welcome. Holla! Thank you very much! Doing laps in the pool, gasping for air after lap 2, away from my 3 kids for the first time in a long time. Said the couple lounging nearby as I come up gasping for air again. I don't even suck down weed from a metal bat anymore, yet I'm huffing and puffing like Miley Cyrus trying to mouth Metallica lyrics on extra strength weed edibles. Still can't believe my dad didn't force me into regular swimming ever like Rocky and Rocky 3. So I have some semblance of muscle memory to plug into today. Afterwards, as the lounging, smile-ready couple proceeds to leave the pool, I say, thanks for letting me go long and never give me the light to wrap up my set prior. Now whenever I interrupt my kid's precious train of thought again, they'll point their arm out at me and say, pause, Daddy, works like a charm every time. And the older poolside couple on their way out, as expected, laughed, long time, holla, thank you very much. At the car dealership, getting a new key, after jumping into the pool prior like a moron with the electronic key on me prior. White privilege issues. Represent, represent, represent. And it's not because the black man isn't dominant in swimming too, which makes zero sense, like NBA players today being more brittle than Kamala Harris under border control. Questioning again. 2 genius ideas I shared with my daughter over the phone to keep secret. First, I record my next comedy record, more sheets of comedy gold in JFK country in Cape Cod. But take our cat left behind like an intentional anchor. My wife left, only to call that podcast episode Miss Kitty Does Cape Cod. Second genius idea is writing my next book of fiction based on these mental health testing, blatantly avoidable, COVID-controlled, crazed times where my kids have actually used the S word, that being suicide, to describe how depressingly dark it got for them during their 2-year blended learning experiment, BUS, which went down worse than mixing malt liquor, Southern Comfort shots, and gravity bong hits in that order, without the temporary heady buzz relief in between either. And this career-launching book is called 3-Year Wave Runner Plan, because that's when my daughter will be old enough to get a bar mitzvah gift like no other that will trigger my dad forever. More importantly, it gives me a concrete deadline to make my funny man career fertilize funny man loads of money shots galore already, because wave runners make you immune to depressive turns, to the suicide side. Daniel Tosh lives, and I thought I was a hilarious shishi bitch. Holla! Thank you very much! At the pool club, riffing, sampling as usual, and I ask a nice-looking couple, do you live in Connecticut? They say yes. I say, glad I asked. Was going to make a Connecticut joke, but I actually love Connecticut. I call Connecticut the new New York. I'm a native New Yorker myself, live in the northern suburbs of New York currently, yet the current state of Manhattan doesn't give my New York-bred ego much to brag about anymore these days. All I ask is that Manhattan smells like a higher grade of weed sometime this century, so New York City can feel posh exclusive again. Aren't there enough unemployed undergraduate burnout students from Kenyon College to make the smell of green sparking magic more commonplace, at least by Washington Square Park, to counterbalance the smell of freshly roasted crack rock for a change? New game plan in life. Find a hot actress to write a career relaunching script for, like Winona Ryder, and call it Gen X Forever. Christian Slater lives. Kind of. Holla! Thank you very much! Message to daughter. After mommy aggravated me again by texting me, "Aw," after I made a sweet-based comment about our cat Miss Kitty's interaction with me in their absence, which wasn't nearly over-the-top, mushy emotive on my part either. I said to my daughter over the phone, Matilda, when you get older, if you're lucky enough to find a grown man who's capable of expressing a sweet bass side, never, ever reply with "aw" via text or in person ever. Aw isn't for somebody done with their baby ears already. Biggest buzzkill today by the lake. Some dude mixed 4th of July firework talk and soccer talk together in semi-seamless fashion. To make matters worse, I bring this up to my wife over the phone in Delaware at the time with our 3 kids, with her English dad who plays the European sport of choice and watches it religiously on the telly, away from his beamish, fuss-free, Jew blood-tainted 3 grandchildren as usual on the regular for the past decade and counting with zero confessional-driven church regret whatsoever. Wife says, "We watched Shock with my dad today. I enjoyed watching it." I say, "Oh, so it must be the World Cup then." Wife says, "No, it's the European Cup." I say, "I give a shit even less now. USA! USA! USA!" The Dream Team days. I know Pippen needs the money because during his playing days, he got paid less than BJ Armstrong's nanny. But I can't believe that a Dream Teamer dominator who boasts 0% body fat, who hasn't aged a day since Rodman refused to go down on Madonna on New Year's Eve in 1999, is going to get into bourbon enough to launch his own line of the stuff called Digits, no less, out of the freaking blue. After we get some Digits, let's order another round of Jaeger shots and Ruppelman shots and some Goldschlager for old time's sake while we're at it. Digits. Why doesn't Scottie Pippen call the bourbon beeper keeper instead? Can I get a holla for some more A+ primo hollage? You're welcome. What Gen X dads understand. Thank you very much. When I was a kid, my first lofty goal was to scrounge enough money from my dad's loose change dish so I could buy all the NBA rookie cards for the original Dream Team, Scottie Pippen included. At the time, I was also a diehard Knicks fan, which was an arranged marriage. My father pushing me, which I'll never have a ring to show for it, obviously. Back in the day, the Ewing-led Knicks at least competed in the playoffs, which offered plenty of thrills before my pubescent life shooter finally popped out of its holster as I finally bloomed under my fruit of the looms, becoming the final kid in my class to enter the puberty party, which explains why entertaining a audience without a crowd in front of me right now. Now, I wouldn't describe my early love affair with the Knicks as Hakeem unveiling Lisa Happy back in Zamunda again. Happy. But the majority of my time spent with my favorite team in the universe always gave me sustainable pleasure back as a whole, which is more than I could say for the woman and mother of my 3 beamish kids these days. But the one constant as a kid, besides my dad trying to shit on my surging self-esteem, again, come to think of it, nothing's changed really, was the stud-hued play of Scottie Pippen. Whether it was his sweltering defense, giving out the impression he had extra length tarantula arms growing out of his bony ass, leading the fast break like magic on Atkins with dogged, breathless ease, or filling the lane to rip off the rim like a sober-minded, better-postured Sean Kemp, who ran down the court with a slight hunch from impregnating half of Seattle, one drooled-over stuff at a time. Plus, the year Jordan played baseball, Pippen owned the Knicks at the Garden and should have advanced to the NBA Finals. Not that bullshit tap foul call against Hubert Davis, who cocked a slower release than Hunter Biden on bad coke. So, knowing what a clutch co-MVP Pippen was in the 6 championship Bulls teams, it infuriated me to learn on the Last Dance doc how Jordan gave him grief for postponing surgery 1 year because he was getting paid less than BJ Armstrong's nanny. Still, Pippen's new Natty Dread hairdo and post-woke talk about Phil Jackson being a racist because he drew up a last-second shot play for Tony Kukoc because, God forbid, Croatian baller egos matter too, is stripping any allure left to pump up Scotty's ego for being the most grossly overlooked number 2 in my lifetime or the next. Let's add Joe Perry to that list for Aerosmith while we're at it. Holla! Thank you very much! Yeah, I'm sure Phil Jackson's decision to give Tony Kukoc the final shot over Scottie Pippen was racially motivated. Although he did shoot from a higher percentage from way downtown last time I checked. Why couldn't Scottie just admit Tony had a prettier, more reliable jumper compared to me. Last, also, let's not act like a black man in this instance was known as the superior set jump shooter off the pick and roll compared to Europe's greatest imported jump shooter throughout the 90s outside of Drazen Petrovic. Although Tony Kukoc was nearly 6'11, so he had a much clearer view of the hoop than Scotty or Drazen, and Pippen wasn't competing in any three-point contests with Tom Chambers back in the day either. But what really annoys me about this Pippen makeover is him pushing a bourbon called Digits with the hand on the bottle as a logo. Shouldn't a bourbon called Digits have a Scottie Pippen playing number on it? Or at least like the cell phone if it was like smoking hot ex-wife Laura Pippen, just to piss her off for time's sake. But based on her Instagram feed, she's like begging for the extra hands-on attention. I'm just not feeling the extra large Peloton high five hand logo on Scottie Pippen's bottle of bourbon Digits. One bit. Scottie Pippen was never known for his outlandish towel twirling rah 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 rooting personality either. Last, Scottie Pippen never struck me as a guy who drinks bourbon because he still exudes 0.0 body fat and has nothing weighty to contemplate when his not one but 6 rings speak for themselves. Kid Rock wants to market a bourbon? I get behind that concept a bit more, knowing he used the booger sugar to stay slim for a reason. Scottie Pippen endorsing bourbon is like John Stockton endorsing flavored vape pens, or myself ordering wild turkey neat with no ice like a wannabe Nick Nolte in the making. Obama's race-obsessed bullshit has ruined everything, even the cocksure quiet allure of the NBA's greatest, most underrated number 2 of all time. My chest times 6 times infinity. Holla! Thank you very much! Beyond personal. More hardcore edge is funnier. Governor Cuomo getting paid to write a book about leadership is like R. Kelly getting early release to babysit the latest Kardashian out of the womb. Woody Allen writing a book on hands-on parenting, or Kevin Durant getting picked to do a TED Talk on how to defend yourself against cyberbullying. Celebrity couples who can't keep their hands off each other are stuck in a perpetual sweaty sex period. That's the secret sauce ingredient that makes any sexually charged relationship stick. Russell Simmons addressing rape allegations with Gayle King. Gayle, read my lisp. I didn't rape any of those vengeful, over-the-hill hoes. New marketing idea for my book. Doodle Dad Does Jokes. Donate them to the Bedford Hills Correctional Facility where Martha Stewart stayed. Sample some Snoop Dogg jokes and the corrections officer in charge of accepting donations for the prison library. Have you tried Snoop Dogg's new red wine yet? Wine Spectator says it tastes like mouthwash used in porn hood hell. Can I donate some Dr. Seuss books? Or are they not woke enough for the warden's taste? Did you hear Dr. Seuss is racist for drawing a picture of an African wearing a grass skirt? I didn't know FUBU was in fashion yet. Correction officer laughs. Long time! Dad giving you parenting advice 3 grandchildren later over the phone again from Arizona is annoying. Oh, you don't like the idea of your granddaughter attending Cornell University eventually? Because of sudden mental health concerns post-COVID pops? I think all the outsourced invisible suicide nets used in factories for Nike and Apple in China got the 13 Reasons Why class cover pops. I bet Cornell made a suicide prevention app that has the Skull and Bones logo on the button to make their snowflake-prone students feel extra protected inside. Like Cornell alum Bill Maher for getting away with naming his production company Kid Love Productions with no media inquiry into its pedo-friendly name whatsoever. If W's kids weren't such airheads, they download that app at Yale because they would have to accept them. Knowing the Skull and Bones logo makes you immune to fucking up again consequences, like W after 9/11 for doing dick to prevent the inside job on his watch. Plus, whenever you press the suicide prevention app button, bang your head by Quiet Riot plays pops, which gets you out of your head after you try to headbutt Joe Rogan through your laptop for promoting how much his brand of CBD oil matters, man, despite giving you zero point 0.0 mental lift worth giving a shit about whatsoever. Like any heady rush takeaways from the Doc Shepard podcast. That's right. Another interchangeable, boorish CBD disciple comic on the Joe Rogan podcast sprinkles his killer sets with jokes about how deadheads only attend dead shows for the drugs, man. Yeah, Dick's Picks volumes 1 through 9,000 document nothing but scattered tracers, dude. But seriously, Pops, once you press that suicide prevention app and hear "Bang Your Head" by Quiet Riot, your anxiety level drops lower than Al Gore's balls at the sight of finding one more Klondike bar left in his sub-zero freezer on the 4th of July. Imagine a kid trying to jump off a bridge at Cornell only to bump into the invisible net. Kid says, "I can't even ace a perfect landing to end my endless shit show of a life. Holla! Thank you very much!" It's my impression of a tour guide at Cornell, downplaying mental health concerns for the incoming class of 2021. Freshmen don't even have time to squeeze in a 20-minute Peloton ride between classes. White Peloton privilege doesn't exist behind these ivy-draped walls. So what makes you think Cornell freshmen can afford to spend their downtime attending pill parties, listening to 13 Reasons Why and vinyl backwards, while looking for secret hidden messages like "sell your soul to Apple Music" like Trent Reznor did? And you'll look less tormented, menacing, and $700 leather jackets in no time. Also, kids today, post-COVID, can't get enough of social distancing, especially after their ears get raped to death from all the Yenta Breath sorority sisters during rush week in the school cafeteria chanting, "Gamma Rho, we're so hot. We rock the keto diet so we don't become fat feminist Karen bots." Don't go there question on Thanksgiving. So, Dad, what brings you more shame? Your son getting addicted to opiates? Or your eldest trying to wean himself off the comment section of the Gateway Pundit? You never heard of it? It's another alt-right dirt rag like the rest, according to Unibrow Maddow at MSNBC. Hey, Dad, tell me if you think this impression is funny. This is Chris Matthews, sexually harassing a new chesty Yenta Breath intern from Long Island on MSNBC. Eating out Maddow counts as your lunch break, babe. Waiting for my car appointment to get a new key, and some old guy starts asking questions about login codes for the internet. I said, "What are you really missing out on besides the Do It All Dad Year podcast and Do It All Dad Year blog?" Personally, I want to kick it old school and get a flip phone again. If I'm honest about only wanting to hear my own opinions most of the time. Describe the internet in 3 words, Twitter. I'm smart, stupid. Also, I want to start using my imagination for jerking off again, so I don't feel like a slacker jerk off at the same time in real time. Are you feeling me yet, old timer? Old timer says, "I like using the internet to read articles from the New York Times and Washington Post." I say, "Nobody's perfect. Billy Wilder lives." I don't do unnamed sources like you know who. Holla! Thank you very much! At the library, trying to donate some books and getting endless laughs by pitching all the book titles of my books to donate to a local prison in Bedford after receiving the suggestion from the librarian prior. And I'm including headline hooker titles for my books, such as "Controlling My Kids a Comedy," "A Love Story," laugh, "Doodle Dad Does Jokes," laugh, "The Coach Daring Comedian," laugh, "Waste of Height," "Really Short Stories," laugh. What am I forgetting? "Resist This," laugh. Thank you very much! Then the librarian says, "You remind me of my nephew. He's a comedian." I say, "Your warm-hearted embrace of my funny man identity doesn't remind me of my mother one bit." Why should I care about the Swiss beating the French in soccer again? The Swiss are guilty of cultural appropriation by storing Marc Chagall designer lamps for their Nazi rulers to sell at Sotheby's whenever they needed to stock up on more Malbec and crystal meth during their golden years, living up in the Andes Mountains, were writing more glowing reviews of Mein Kampf on Amazon under Nazi scientists, protection programs rule, new agent seduction plan, only pursue female lit agents that give me sustained stiffage, which is protracted, extended arousal derived from their money shot loaded manuscript sales list. Playing with the idea of making mama more jealous with a new potential Jewish godmother, film lover embracer regarding the totality of me, wouldn't hurt. My increased motivation factor to woo them with more than my pulsating prose either. Can I get a holla for pushing onto the other side, for chipping away at the stone? Aerosmith lives. Holla! Thank you very much! Chip away at the stone! Old school Aerosmith rocks. Holla! Thank you very much! Getting a new key at the Toyota dealership. And I start flirting with the slightly chesty, pretty face enough raven black hair Latino gal who helped reorder the key for me prior in painless, super fast fashion. I made her laugh a long time the other day before when I said, I don't mind waiting. My unhuggable C word of a mother-in-law is being forced to play fake news involved grandmother for the week, so I'm whistling Dixie regardless. Today I say the name Vilma? The name Vilma is growing more on me every day. It's more cinematic sounding than Penelope Cruz. In fact, I think Pedro Almodovar should make you his new muse and kick that uppity lisp to the curb. Everyone working their lives a long time. I'm glad that my philosophy and film class that my parents paid $50,000 for just materialized right there. The entire Toyota worker crew laughs a long time again. United, we laugh. Oh, what a feeling. Can I get a holla for some A+ commercial catchphrases from back in the day that Gen X dads understand? You're welcome. Holla! Thank you very much! Mr. Overboard. Listening to Steve Perry's new album on Spotify this morning made me feel like the eunuch sentimentalist in Game of Thrones. But why am I so desperate to relink with my age of innocence again? Granted, anyone who remains a stay-at-home dad on purpose wants to remain a eunuch for the time being. At the same time, why do cocksure heterosexual men or gender-fluid female comedians like me feel compelled to deride some sappy, sad downer power ballad song as eunuch sentimentalist music at all? I think it's because as we get older and get a tad more jaded around the edges of a broken heart, we don't buy into the irrefutable absolute truisms behind certain famous sing-along lyrics by Chicago, such as, how can I go on? How can I go on? Find a fresher, tighter snatch to fall in love with for starters. Who doesn't deride the workshopped over comedic genius behind iconic FX shows such as Rescue Me as being merely sexist just because a bunch of hot chicks throw themselves at Dennis Leary's fireman character, which isn't a radical departure from reality considering the post 9/11 times it was made in? Understand, before 9/11, firemen as a whole in New York were derided by the NYPD as mere cat tree snatchers, burnt out line cooks, or Magic Mike wannabes. 9/11 changed all that. That's why de Blasio shooting down the Freedom Tower tribute ceremony this past year over alleged COVID concerns was ridiculously dumb. Because out of the blue, I don't think 9/11 first responders were sweating the prospect of catching an itchy esophagus. Now, regardless of the NYPD being defunded or not, they've lost the moral high ground over New York City firemen, since every day now for the cops is standing down day. Cops in New York have so much free time in their hands these days, and they're the ones taking how to make ravioli from scratch classes at the 92nd Street Y. Cops who insist on taking an 8 today proves how undercover cops who haven't retired yet prematurely from the force are still down with wearing Nike sweats no matter what. But momentous, hair standing on the back of your neck, tingly songs like The Flame by Cheap Trick still sway my heart toward more promise-filled tomorrows than any shitty melodic free rap song by Nipsey Hussle ever could, which is a testament to the timeless appeal behind emotive, heartfelt, male articulated lyrics, man, versus most radio-friendly rap songs, both old and new, which deride women interested in riding a rapper's joystick out of its socket as mere money-grubbing, stupid-ass, over-the-hill hoes. Sebastian Bach, original lead singer of Skid Row, claims only teenage girls bought their debt record because of the monster rock ballad hit in it, I Remember You. So you're a twinkle toe bitch boy for pretending you bought the debt record Skid Row to hear big guns and rattlesnake shake again and again otherwise. Reality is, though, the soaring guitar solo in I Remember You is exalted, high-end, heartfelt rock at its finest. That sounds even more kick-ass melodic special over time because it's my unique sentimentalist music that came out in my time when I didn't even hit puberty yet, let alone have a clue on how to exert my manhood, and it finally bloomed under my fruit of the looms after feeling like the last kid to enter the puberty party in school. Can I get a holla for some more A+ hair metal love letter homage that will only get better? You're welcome. I know I'm veering off of a joke every 2 seconds, but it's my third comedy record in a row, so go woke yourself. Holla! Thank you very much! But that's okay, because I grew a sack eventually, and some hair on it too. Or else I never would have dared to make it through my never-ending pain period as a cold-calling IT agency headhunter recruiter at 22 in LA, a long way from home. Nor would I have ever contemplated trying open mic stand-up at the Rainbow Lounge on the Sunset Strip, where hair metal sleaze incarnate rat once reigned supreme, getting endless perfect tens to let their bodies do their talking for them. I also wouldn't have hit on my future wife and mother of my 3 pitch-perfect sounding kids after hitting on 3 other girls prior with relentless horn dog craze, wheel and deal zeal, without the power ballad soundtrack of my youth pulsating through my on with the show heart. Can I get a holla for a beautiful reference to the most badass punk rock metal dead record of all time, Too Fast for Love, Motley Crue Lives Forevermore. Holla! Thank you very much! So, why are underlying hopeful power ballads that prove men are capable of being deeper than the 18th hole considered softcore girly again? Men in long hair and makeup back in the 70s and 80s singing songs starting with Barry Manilow didn't counterbalance that perception one bit. Meanwhile, Ronnie Van Zant sang Freebird, which was considered an original power ballad of its day, and he'd make Neil Young his Canadian cunt in the can without breaking a sweat while yelling, "More shriekish wailing, Young. I'm not buying you being whipped on a southern man, being all free and up in your jailbird ass just yet. Holla! Thank you very much!" Power ballads are considered soft girly because most men are too chicken shit to spill their innards out to a woman in person, let alone on wax, after a record company fronts them $200,000 to make it for millions to hear. Power ballads will always woo because they burst with romantic longing from our hopeful filled tomorrows, which hold out the promise of soothing the tissue-torn teen hearts in us all, especially among us gun-shy dudes plagued by our frozen with fear past. But I don't buy for a minute the horseshit premise which insists that the era of internet porn on demand, flush with tatted out white girls on crystal meth, has completely stripped our need for the comforting lift that great power ballads provide us all. Hair Metal Nation on Sirius Radio doesn't exist without the power ballad hits. They never lost the pull they have on Gen X guys and gals because it's unique, sentimentalist music that hit big in our hearts in our time. It belongs to us, and nobody can ever take that away from Wait, George Gershwin Lives. Holla! Thank you very much! Also, when we all fell in love with the soft, soothing sounds of 9 p.m. clock radio, music by REO Speedwagon, we weren't fixated on the singer or image from the video, but on our aching, incomplete hearts, longing for a willing recipient of our love burst already. Big tits are great, but they don't overcompensate for an okay face or an even worse, bitch-laden, one-note heart that fluctuates from softcore bitch to full-fledged scally cunt in a New York minute. What makes power ballads so powerful? Featherly Light finger tapping by CeCe on Every Rose Has Its Thorn is great, no doubt. For me, though, what makes power ballads so powerful is the rousing, never say die attitude for giving love another shot with all you got, like the late great Janie Lane from Warrant sings with such soul-stirring feeling on Sometimes She Cries. Holding out the hope of more pregnant-filled tomorrows is what makes power ballads pack some extra exalted, it's not over yet, asshole, for me. Is it time to move past 14 yet? Not even close. Because, like the serial underrated Brittany Fox screeched back in the day with ultra throaty soul metal verve, it's a long way to love. So don't give up on your storybook romance life just yet. You dream the fuck on until you make your new dreams to remember come true. Or else, love really does bite if you allow it to get in the last lacerating lick and stop believing in your right to live a fulfilling life, flush with your own fair share of heavy metal highs to cherish forever. Save the weak, like Brittany Fox did. Hound down your innermost love and never allow anyone the power to damper your special spark shine inside that gives you more than a feeling. Boston Lives. Holla! Thank you very much. The hair metal, liquor, comedian. I'm buying myself the book, The Uncensored History of 80s Rock. Bookstore owner says, would you like to be put on our list? I said, not yet. I'm just getting this gift for myself the way I filled out my own Father's Day card last year. Waiting for Joe Biden to deliver a flub-free unifying speech is like waiting for Hunter to give a blow for a blow painting full time. Hunter's old school cokehead buds missed the good old days, getting tweaked in tiny bars next to their dealer in Wilmington, Delaware, only hearing last call from the bathroom stall, only to utter, where's Hunter? Oh yeah, he's spewing his white privilege seed all up at some stripper's fake news roped off snatch in the champagne room where only the high roller hacks roam. At a chocolate shop in Richfield, Connecticut, I say, I'll take 3 of those chocolates. I don't want to perpetuate my dad's tradition of playing blatant, overt favorites, or my children will suffer from a lifetime of lingering resentment that no amount of yoga, prayer, or weed edibles can expunge from the depths of their slighted, impossible to recover from souls. When your dad says out loud in front of you, I don't know how we're related, it means he treats you like sloppy seconds for a reason. I got my dad a joint for us to smoke together in Arizona after it became legal there because I thought we could bond over the All-Star Review for my book, The Great American Jew Novel, in the Midwest Review, proving it wasn't too overtly Jewy for the Heartland's taste. And my dad says, yeah, I'm going to smoke this with my friend Nat in Vegas instead. And Pops wonders why I seek laughs from strangers for a living. If Megan Rapinoe runs for president, what's going to be your campaign slogan? Bring back the L word to Netflix, Obama. You're our only hope. Is the purple-haired tomboy look even a real-life type or just a cry for attention because Olympic soccer carries less cultural oomph in America than Orlando Bloom's archery tips that aren't on Katy Perry's nips instead. Holla! Thank you very much! When Megan Rapinoe refused to take a knee, what point was she trying to make again? Pussy hat wearing lesbos or down with licking Nike's ass no matter what? Did Megan Rapinoe ever accuse Colin Kaepernick of sporting a fake news fro backstage at the ESPYs? Have you ever seen a biracial afro that large before? Slash tried to grow it out, and it was a total flop. At the same time, fake news fro takes selfies with Linda Sarsour, who supports genital mutilation through supporting Sharia law, and Chelsea Manning's run for Senate. That's like wearing a mutilated clit on your fro, bro. Eli Manning is still a bigger pimp than Brady in my book. He ruined his shot at a perfect season. Giselle was a Victoria's Secret angel. Big deal. Now she's like 80 in model years. Plus, her uppity lisp isn't winning her any popularity contest over Tyra Banks either. And why doesn't anyone praise Terry Bradshaw as the best quarterback of all time? Nobody aired out like Bradshaw. Fine. That much he shares in common with Brady. I'll give you that much. Curious about George. Let's talk about canceling Curious George now because of racial associations embedded in the story. George avoids AIDS about a white guy in the yellow 10-gallon hat who saves an African monkey from getting AIDS from the CIA after making a bet with the CEO of Planned Parenthood to see who could exterminate more hoop dreams before they got off the ground. Cancel Curious George, yet who on the left would take offense to a remake titled By Curious George, targeted towards sexually confused hipster spawn reared on Lou Reed Records? The husband-wife team who created Curious George were a Jewish couple who fled Nazi Germany on a self-made bike, no less. But some miserable Twitter twat dares to accuse these co-authors as peddling picture books for white supremacists on 4chan today. Curious George gets a job, doesn't feed into the narrative of systematic racism. So that's a solid reason to go ape shit online and shit over our kids' age of innocence, as if wearing masks at school like they're on vacation with Michael Jackson's kids in Bahrain isn't depressingly dreary enough with no one in sight already. Curious George flies a kite isn't racist. You think the title was Jamal's older brother is high on shitty commercial weed in the project hallways before the school bus arrives in the AM again. Curious George runs the alphabet in Ibonics was never written, although I think Nas could reinvent himself as a child book author and give it a shot. I read it to my kids immediately in a New York minute, in a New York frame of mind. Slick Rick could get the job done too, and I'm sure he's available. Last time I checked, Curious George goes to the pizza party. That wasn't written, was it? Hosted by Danny Aiello in Do the Right Thing. When he started dropping M-bombs because Radio Raheem played Public Enemy too loud for his taste, out of the freaking blue, despite most Italians being proud members of the loudmouth bleacher creatures at Yankee Stadium, throwing batteries at opposing players in right field at the old Yankee Stadium before the new one was built, otherwise known as the house that gentrification built. I also don't remember there being a story called Curious George Goes to the Hospital from drive-by gunshot wounds for wearing his customary red top while cruising through South Central to pick up some discount rims, for the man in the yellow-brimmed pimp hat for an upcoming 70s Fly Guy pimp costume party retrospective for Halloween, unless Snoop Dogg decided to retell the story to his kids that way because that's how the sticky icky king of the green Puff Law maestro of rap rolls. Holla! Thank you very much! I also remember the Curious George story being Curious George goes to the baseball game, not Curious George dominates the baseball game again by smacking 3 homers in the World Series, doing his best Mr. October impersonation, while Pete Rose places a bet on how many N-bombs Marge Scott dropped in rapid succession after uppity, erudite, hyperarticulate, clutch-hitting Reggie went yard for lucky number 3, allegedly, according to Marge Schott. Holla! Thank you very much! Yeah, and I remember it just being Curious George Goes to the Movies, not Curious George Goes to the Movies and is louder than Busta Rhymes and Midnight Showing of Higher Learning. And I've always liked the story Curious George Visits the Dentist, but it'd be funnier, if it was Curious George Visits the Dentist and sample some Bill Cosby material, such as, hey, Dennis Doc, did you know? I was just reading in your waiting room because you have nothing else to read. National Geographic is just reading that female dragonflies play dead to avoid sexual assault from male dragonflies. Bill Cosby victims call this wishful thinking. Can I get a holla for going yard like Reggie, doing my own Mr. October impersonation? Long time, all the time. Holla! Thank you very much! Dr. Seuss is Tony Robbins for kids. Dr. Seuss's illustrations are steeped in harmful stereotypes, they say. But I don't recall him drawing a picture of BLM protesters looting the Gucci store along Miracle Mile, refusing to pay. Dr. Seuss drew a picture of a topless African in a grass skirt. He's racist then. It's set. But I didn't know FUBU was in fashion yet. Has anybody complained about the hook-nosed goblin bankers in Harry Potter yet? You know, Mel Gibson was overjoyed with that movie set. Did J.K. Rowling think, I'm hiring Mel Gibson as the set designer on my flick? Mel, being a throbbing Jew-hater dick, makes him my automatic #1 pick. What if I don't care for green eggs and ham? This means what? I hate the Irish race and refuse to play beer pong with them at such a rapid fire pace? Or does it mean I insist on watching Irish movies with subtitles because of the funny way they sound, while also refusing to unfold my arms to jump around? Dr. Seuss drew pictures of Asians eating with chopsticks. How sick. It's worse than drawing a picture of Cardi B dropping chopsticks into her cum bucket full of other forgotten stuffings in there, like a long lost chicken nugget. What happens in the book? And to think I saw it on Mulberry Street. Did Sonny and his crew beat up a bunch of rowdy bikers on the street because they sprayed beer on the bartender and should have stuck to ordering their drinks neat? Wait a minute. That happened in the Bronx Tale. American-made mafia tales about the working man can't be beat. I only wish Chaz Palminteri's acting career still packed so much heat. Dr. Seuss is the Tony Robbins for kids, who continues to inspire millions of kids to keep fighting for their dreams, instead of recommending they watch 13 Reasons Why whenever they feel their lives are falling apart at the seams. Dr. Seuss was right. There is fun to be done and games to win, but you'll never know the thrill of victory if you don't chuck your victim card into the trash bin.